All right, y'all. This week, we gotta show some love to the creators on Instagram, like Minimal Bricks, who's definitely dropping some knowledge and breaking down imposter syndrome so you can fight the fear and get to building. This was not a paid advertisement for the Cali Brick Click, but definitely some good advice.
Dude, I had for life schedule.
That's good though.
What's happening with like people I'm like, okay, they're gonna like really I'm reaching in 5, 4, 3, 2. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 77 of Cali Brick Click. It is really late right now. We're double recording right after the last episode that, if any of you guys watched, was just too good. So this will be released on schedule for whenever you're listening to this, but it's also being recorded like the week prior. So there is really no super banter of whatever relevant that happened from the time when we recorded the last one. So keep that in mind. But with that being said, remember you can find all episodes and previous episodes in any podcast platform to include YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, whatever. And like always, we have Ninja.
Yeah.
We do have Claire. She's actually on her way home from watching a Giants game. She's technically supposed to be here like an hour ago. So we're going to make fun of her for a second when she finally arrives. But when she
California
does...
traffic. We'll give her.
Oh, dude. Let's not even start there. But this week, we have Kate, the BrickHuntress, coming back for a second time. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you for having me.
I know it's late. It's late for all of us.
Yeah, it's
like what,
us,
10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, it's all good. I'm a night owl, so it's all good.
Yeah, you are. So I would say how everyone's been, but Ninja and I just spoke to each other like literally 10 hours ago. How are you?
A lot could have happened in that 10 hours.
A lot could have happened.
True. That is true.
But nothing.
I just worked the entire time, and like that's all I've been doing.
Let's hear from Kate. That'd be
yeah.
more interesting. Yeah.
We're not cool. How are you?
I'm awesome. I've just been getting ready for some of the conventions coming up. I'm going to be a vendor for the first time at Brick Rodeo the end of June. And working on some of my new showpieces. I don't think one of them will actually be ready, which is fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. But my Darth Maul will definitely be ready. So that will be my new showpiece for the next two conventions, for Bricks by the Bay and Brick Rodeo.
For Brick Rodeo, you're a vendor.
Mm-hmm.
What are you selling?
I make custom mosaic sets or custom mosaic kits. So I do the designs from Star Wars to Disney to superheroes to Harry Potter, anywhere in between. And they come in 32 by 32 size or 20 by 20 sizes. And I give the base plate, all the pieces, a minifig, and instructions. And I box them up and you buy them and then you make them yourself.
And there's an online store for this in case people
right now it's through my Instagram, but it's being built. Yes, the website.
Okay.
Work in progress.
Okay, cool. So people who don't attend Brick Rodeo can still purchase these pieces of art.
Yes.
I was going to say kits, but I don't know if you say that yet. Would you consider them kits?
I would consider them kits. I almost say sets because that's what they pretty much are.
Counts, yeah.
I wonder if I'm supposed to, right? Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm supposed to call them that, I don't want to get in trouble.
I think about it. I'm like, how do the custom Lego guys do? They say both, actually. I don't think
kits, right?
Yeah, kits
they
or
say
sets.
both, right?
They say both. Yeah, okay. You're fine. You're fine. Yeah. I think Lego's big thing, as long as it doesn't look like a Lego box, you're good.
True.
So if it doesn't say Lego, you have the label on the bottom that says not affiliated with the Lego group, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't look like you're not using a Lego logo. You'll be fine.
So is this the first wave of exclusive BrickHuntress mosaics?
I've actually sold I've probably sold about 300 sets.
Wow. Okay, let's dive into it for a second. Not the business aspect, but for those of you who haven't really seen the last episode when Kate was on, she does really, really cool mosaics, and not like the simple mosaics that you would see like purchased on like Lego.com or Lego, which are still cool in its own. She does she has texture to it. Like there's like a story, like there's a lot to it.
Elements.
So having something done by her, sold by her, I think would be a great thing to kind of like examine. But like, can you explain your whole artistic background for all this stuff? Like what got you into it, just as a recap from anyone who hasn't seen the last one?
Sure. So I built Lego with my brother growing up and then just went straight into the dark age. I was like super tomboyish though. Like Transformers was totally my jam. I played with G.I. Joes. Like my mom tried to get me Barbies and I was like, please. Like I would like, yeah, the Transformers, they would be like the evil people for the Transformers stuff. And then I had my son, and so he started getting into Lego around like 4.5-ish, 5. And Brikx Cascade was in Portland, and Art of the Brick was at the OMSI, which is like our Museum of Science and Industry. And I was like, perfect, we can do both. Like, let's just go to both, bring him to both. So we bring him into the OMSI, and I walk in, and I'm looking around, and I swear to God, I had like a euphoric, like heavenly experience. I was like, yeah, no, literally. I was like, what is happening in here? Like, what's going on? Because I was an art history major, art minor in college. And so to see all the famous works of art that I had studied for years and years replicated in Lego, I was like, this is not happening. Am I on drugs right now? Like, oh my God. And I'd always been an artist, even up until that point. Like I kind of even went into a little bit of a dark age, but I still drew all the time. And I never quite found my medium per se. And I was like, I can do this. I'm going to do this. Like, this is happening. So I like went home and broke out my art history books, and pop art's is my favorite of any of the genres. And so I have a Roy Lichtenstein book. And so I was looking through it, and I came to the girl with the ribbon. So the blonde girl with the ribbon. Yeah. And I had drew her because I did my thesis on him in college, and we had to do a 12-piece like installation have a minor in art. So I chose him. So I replicated a bunch of his stuff already. And so I was like, that one, totally that one's going to be it. So Dakota's Brick Shop is here in Bend. It's like our bricks and minifig style store. And so I went in there, and I had already known him a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. How do I do it? Right? Like, where do I even start? And so he showed me like Photobricks program, and he showed me BrickLink later, and Mosaic Maker hadn't even been a thing yet. Oh. And he had like the bins, right, where you like dig and find all your pieces. And so I sat there, no joke, for hours and hours, and for like 3 or 4 months. And so she is 100% recycled Lego. There's no new pieces in her, like at all.
Wow.
That's fresh.
That's actually cool to hear too. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
And then COVID happened. Well, and then the first half of Wham is also almost all recycled Lego except for the dark red. So there's 10,000 pieces in that one, maybe more. And I always hide like hidden elements in there that for you guys to find. So there's always a list next to each one of my pieces when you go to cons and stuff. So that makes it really fun. Kids really like that. Yes. And I remember you too, trying to find all of them.
That's the best thing. I love Where's Waldo books and stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome. Exactly.
Yeah,
like, I think any or a mosaic like that does that. I think it's amazing because it kind of makes you more interactive with and then just looking at it. Mm-hmm. Like you're actually looking at it, you know?
Oh, or if you don't even know at first, you're like, wait a minute, what is that? Is that an ice cream cone? And then you notice, like, oh, wait, there. Yeah.
Why is there a teapot in her hair? Yeah, no, totally.
What else can I find?
But I like using all the different elements too. So like, knowing what a mosaic was, right? Just being an art history major, I was just like, well, I want to do something different. I want to create something that hasn't really been created that much before. Like I want to kind of push the boundary of what art can be with Lego. So that was always my goal. And so I always try to create more of like that 3D effect. And then I started using lights and some other things to incorporate it and just make it kind of come alive, per se.
And you've only been doing this for how long?
Like 4 years.
I am like excited to see what you do 10 years from now. Because I feel like you're one artist that always tries to up herself.
Yeah.
Like, so if this is the level you're at like right now, which I've seen your work like, you know, on social media and in real life, they're amazing. I think one of the best mosaics like I've ever seen as far as in using Lego as a medium. I've seen a lot of mosaics and there's a lot of mosaic artists, but a lot of it's very, you know, very similar. There's really not much change. Maybe the context of what they do is, you know, is you know, evolving in some sense, but like I don't see any mosaics as the same. Like they're there's definitely something different about like the technique that you use, the texture you use, like the feel. Like if I look on the side, it's definitely not flat. So like, you know, you're definitely playing with depth and you're using lights now. Like I am like genuinely curious to see where this goes, and not only like 10 years from now, but like a year from now, especially now because like conventions are like fully growing. You know, like you're able to actually like see and show off and share, and like people, your name is getting out there. So now that might be a little bit of pressure. Just a tad of pressure, like, you know, trying to like showcase the next best thing. But in the meat of it though, like what brought you to be able to share this on like Instagram?
Okay, so I did the girl, right? And then I started doing the other half of Wham, and then I did the Liberty. And Dakota was like, you have to bring these to Brikx Cascade. No joke. This is what I said. I was like, what's a Brikx Cascade? So now it's like the running joke, like even like in the Instagram community, like, what's a brick rodeo?
Yeah. No, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Yeah. Oh, it's like a convention, like a Lego convention. I'm like, are you serious? Like, and he goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, I remember that, right? Because we had taken Will, but like that was like 2 years before. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I do remember that. And it was like right before, and I didn't have Instagram, didn't know anyone, like literally just showed up with my stuff. Like Paul Hetherington was like right next to me on the table, like on the thing.
Yeah.
He was like pretty much the only person I talked to the whole weekend. It was just like, it was so surreal and such a cool experience to just be immersed with people, like-minded people, but people that like really like inspired me to go and do more. Right. And, I remember Dakota, like we shared like an Airbnb, and he's like, do you have an Instagram? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, you should have a Lego Instagram. And I was like, that's a thing, right? That's my like personal one, right? Like, oh yeah. And so I'll never forget it. We sat in the living room, and we were talking about names, and he's like, well, you have a really good last name, you need to incorporate that. And I was like, okay, well, what about BrickHuntress, right? And he's like, oh yeah, done, you're done, that's it. And I was like, okay. And that was it. And it was the Saturday night of that first Brikx Cascade. It was me and my Instagram. So
that's great that you remember that story. There's a lot. I do remember a lot of because you remember that interaction. I do remember a lot of first interactions of friends that I've made on YouTube within that community. Like I can recall maybe like 75% of when I first like met or spoke or heard of you. Like for example, Claire, I remember her because she jumped on, you know, M&R's podcast and started getting really political on the other side of whatever was happening on top. And I'm like, who's this chick? Like there's no icon. There's an icon, but I barely recognize what it is. And I'm moderating while I'm working. I'm like, who's this?
Man, that first
like,
icon.
Who's this person like speaking her mind? We don't even know it's a girl or a woman, but it could have been anybody. But like she was just talking and going. And I'm like, okay, you just popped out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Usually when and you're familiar with it, when you have like Instagram like streams, like you see the same people all the time, and then when somebody new comes up, you're like, oh, who are you? That's cool.
Mhm.
Let's bring it along. And then same thing with Ninja. We got to like wrap in like the 72-hour stream on the community one. Yeah, right. And we got to chill like literally last 3 people in that entire 72 hours.
We were chilling for hours.
Yeah, we're just chilling at night, like at 2:00 in the morning, talking BS. Like, you know, I was playing video games. I don't know what you were doing, but we were talking. So like, I remember that, and like, they're positive memories, and like, it's fun to like, you know, see that not only like with my friends, but like in other groups outside of the platform. That it's a common thing. Oh, that's Claire. KK. So I just told her to jump on video. So let's look at those communities too. So Ninja and I are very immersed in the YouTube side, and in what happened during COVID, we saw an influx of Lego fans, both teenagers and adults, for good reason, right? It makes sense. But then we started seeing an influx of content creators, and a little bit, I guess you would say, on the YouTubes. I mean, it is kind of hard to do it on YouTube, but like we saw a lot on Instagram, like a lot. But out of that, like blossomed this community of people, of, you know, mockers, builders, whatever. There's so many different like genres of it at this point that are not just showcasing pictures. They're like not only more currently reels, but like they're communicating. Like they have these little, clicks is, I feel like, is kind of a bad word, but like more so of like this community of people who are consistently around, that like, you know, you're on one stream, you see the one of the 3 people, in another stream of one of the 4 people, in another stream of one of 2 people, and you kind of notice like they're picking up dots in like different parts of the world, and it's exactly what the YouTube community is, but on a different platform. Like I don't see that on Twitch yet, but like Instagram, there's definitely a group. Do you see that? Like, how did that come out? Because I feel like you're one of the OGs at this point.
Really? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I just really enjoy it. I think like people have always asked, well, why don't you jump into YouTube? And I'm like,
that's me. I'm like, I'm
telling you, being the guest, right? Like, I'm just like, I like being the guest. Like, I don't know if I want to fully jump in there quite yet, but I think the community, even before you could have 4 people on the lives, like it was a platform that just felt more like family, if that makes sense.
Oh,
like,
I get it.
I think YouTube, at least for me, feels very large. Like it just feels very large, very overwhelming at times, because anyone can be watching, right? Like literally anybody can be watching you. Whereas Instagram, it's more of this tight-knit community family, because they have to be following you to watch you, unless you're on someone else's, right? But yeah, so it just feels a little bit more.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
You're wearing orange. Look at you. Yeah. I would say go Giants, but that goes against being a Dodger fan.
Oh, ew. Go Giants.
Well, I'm just saying.
God.
Whoa.
No.
All right. Sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm outnumbered here. Ninja, back me up. Come on, bro.
Dodgers. Let's go Dodgers.
Yeah,
I don't care about sports, but
it's sports ball.
There you go.
And you're wearing orange. Orange.
I know. Yeah,
absolutely my favorite color. So you look amazing and beautiful.
Thank you. It's so nice to talk to you. I feel like it's been a very long time.
It has.
Yeah. How are you doing? How are the kids?
They're good. We have 1 more week of school left, and then Hunter goes to kindergarten next year. So that's exciting. So we have 1 more week of childcare left too, which is probably the most exciting for me. Like we already decided, we're going to walk in and hand them our last check together, right? We're just like, here, bye.
I thought about that. I no longer have to pay for oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, it's been good. It's been good. Graduations in a day, and it's been fun.
Not to like kill this like interaction of greetings, Claire. Welcome. Hope the game was fun. But Kate was going. We're in a discussion of like looking at the Instagram community as like a community. We're kind of not necessarily comparing it, but like being fascinated that the group that has now become the Lego Instagrammers is another thing to see. And Kate was kind of explaining like how that kind of came about. So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Now we can reverse back.
Oh, it's all good. I would say a majority of the Lego Instagram community are not YouTubers, right? Like they're not on YouTube. They'll guest spot, or you'll have like your pockets here and there that they're YouTubers but dabble in Instagram, right? Like it's the opposite. And then there's ones that are pretty consistent with both, but it's very far and few between. But I think it's just like the vastness of YouTube that like overwhelms people. And I think the community that it creates, because you have to be following each other to like really watch each other. And it feels a little safer to people, is what I've heard anyway. It feels safer. It feels more
like Instagram feels safer,
or more.
Do you think it's because, and I get that sense too. I feel like it feels because you have like more control of like what you're putting out online. And so it's like, at least it certainly feels that way. Like you have totally just as much control with YouTube. It's just more like, I think it's like, it seems like you're giving more. Like, I think, I don't know. I kind of get where people are going. I don't know.
I feel like YouTube's intimidating for a lot of people.
I want to break that down because it's really not that bad. It really isn't. Like I think, I don't know why. It's interesting because I think certain demographics like gravitate towards specific social media platforms to like express themselves creatively, whatever that is. And I've always gone to YouTube first simply because there's more information and it's like for longer, it's like longer format information. Obviously this is like pre-shorts, but Instagram is like, I don't know. I honestly I don't think, and I feel like I should like kind of like heed my words when I say this because I haven't uploaded in a long time and I have my own creative like blocks and stuff. But it's really not that bad. It's
not scary. Come over here.
It's really not.
We're friendly too.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, do people feel like it's more like dramatic and stuff like that? And
no, I don't think that's it at all. I think it's I think it just feels more big, right? Like like pretty much anyone can watch your YouTube stuff, right? Anyone. Yeah. Like they don't necessarily have to be following you to watch it. They can watch it whenever they want or look it up, right?
But I feel like most Instagram profiles of people that I see are public. I can count on one hand the ones. Yeah. So like, how is that any different? Sorry, I don't mean to like, I'm not trying to like pick at it. I'm just confused. Like, how is that any different? And some people are doing reels and they're getting millions of views on a reel where you're like lip syncing to a pop song, which is like totally fine. But like you're literally, but like I'm like, I'm trying to counter it, not break it apart. If that makes sense, you know, like, I feel like I've never gotten 1 million views on a single. I think the most views I ever got was 16,000. You know, like I mean, so like I don't like it feel, and I know that like our friends who do both like Instagram and YouTube, like they get more brand sponsorships and stuff because of Instagram, which means that those brands feel like Instagram has more of a reach.
Or TikTok.
Yeah, exactly too. So
YouTube's changing is doing that now, right? They're trying to fix the whole streaming thing to look like Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah, like the whole vertical streaming
stuff too.
They're changing the way shorts.
Yeah, like you can also gift subs. You can also gift subs like subscriptions during live streams and stuff, and they took that from Twitch and stuff. I don't know. I think they're all learning from each other, which is like really interesting and stuff. But like, do you think it's because like YouTube videos is like a harder thing to produce as well? Like I think
that stems
I think
growth.
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true, by the way, because I think like a really well edited, like short format content can be just as hard as like a longer
that's
format
true.
content.
Oh, I think so. I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. I also think it's something like coming from kind of like an outside perspective, like if I wasn't a part of any community, right? I think people are scared of what they don't understand.
I'm
or
sure.
what they don't
That
know.
makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So when they're really comfortable with something,
Mhm.
I can speak for myself too, right? Like when you're really comfortable with something, you tend to
Mhm.
gravitate towards that and then want to make
Mhm.
that better versus trying something new because
Yeah.
that's scary, right? Like you're like, well, I don't know how to do that. Like, what if it's different? Like, what if I mess
Totally.
up or whatever? You know?
Do you
We're all
feel
like
like
that.
do you
Yeah.
feel like the barrier of entry to the Lego YouTube community is harder than it is on Instagram?
I don't
If you
personally
want,
know.
like if you want to
I
like be, because like, obviously you can jump in the chats, but like if you want to be a content creator, like you have to make videos.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? To be like to be noticed, you have to make videos. Unless you're always in the chat, which you know a
have
lot
to
of people do that.
also you have to go live, you have to post, you have to like
Yeah,
same
or
thing.
short heads,
Right.
whatever.
Mhm.
Or
So on
short
Instagram, you
videos.
start with like photos, a little bit of reels, maybe, and then people. Because like when I get a new follower or on Instagram, like it's whatever. If there is like one photo or like nothing on there, it feels sketch to me. Like I need to see a whole 9-picture grid and then some. You know what I mean? For me to interact with someone on Instagram, like I need to see like there's a history. You're not a scammer. You know what I mean? That's what I got to do. I need to see a history of something, and then like. But for a YouTuber, it's you have to make content for a little bit for people to trust you. So you have to literally, whether it's edited or not, make something, and then you're making a presentation that's not live, and then you put it out there for people to be like, oh, SHYtime is my time. He has like 5 videos of doing this with his kid. You know what I mean? Or Claire the Plastic Architect. I think her name is Claire. She's doing these things with videos, but like there's only 2 things. But they just posted, oh, it looks like she's going to be a thing. Like that type of thing. Whereas like you're just looking at a Lego picture just with there's no other Lego
but
photo.
it's hard though. It's like a lot of those people are like kids and stuff like that, or people who are like ashamed of their hobby and stuff, who like don't post anything. Or there are people who are like, I have this specific aesthetic and like showing myself is like theoretically, it just like, it counters the aesthetic. I have a question. So either like the YouTube or the Instagram algorithm has like me figured out to a T, or like it just is this way, but it certainly feels like the demographic on Instagram feels like older. Like I feel like there's more of my peers on Instagram than there is on YouTube. So like Shy, Ninja, and I are like, and our friend Josh, we're like on the older end of our group of friends. Yeah. And it feels like we would be in the median or the mean. Yeah. Like with everybody else. Like, and so, which has been interestingly enough, for me, it's been life changing in like other ways, but like, it's also been like, eye-opening to like be around like, a younger generation in like a good and bad way. But I definitely like
a bad way.
But I feel like I sometimes I would like to see more, like I'm the oldest female content creator that I know of on YouTube.
Which is insane to me. Which is crazy.
That doesn't just do live streams. Let's make that clear. Like she actually makes content.
Right. Exactly.
So like I think I'm like I'm older than Brick Queen, I think, right?
Brick Queen's younger than us? Oh shoot.
I
think it's
no comment.
Or whatever.
No, I'm just thinking like I don't know, but I obviously my world is very small, like what I'm thinking of right now and stuff. And I don't want to be presumptuous, but it does feel like a bit older. And so to my head, I'm like, okay, that's probably because there's like more people that have the time who are professionals who can do this. And it's like, do you know what I mean? And maybe it's just like more welcoming for that. I don't know. Kate, you tell me what you think.
I was telling them that it feels like, I don't know if it feels more like welcoming or a family. Not that I've never not felt welcome in the YouTube community. So I'm just going to preface that really quick.
Like, you're welcome here.
Definitely feel welcome. But I think, like I said, like, I think it's because I think the middle older generation, which is our generation, right, in this community, is intimidated by YouTube because of how young the content
It is.
are.
Yeah.
So they don't feel like they maybe necessarily relate to them as much.
But like our generation made YouTube, like quite literally, and like
our generation made social media. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, like to be fair,
though,
the most successful people that have ever been on YouTube are like 22 to 24 at this point. You know what I mean? Like the Mr. Beasts of the world, but we're not. Like, I'm sorry, Ryan, MNR Productions, you're not Mr. Beast. So like even though they're at that point and they do good stuff, but it's like, I don't know, man. Jang is like what, in his 40s, like, or late 30s, like what? So
I think also like the viewership on YouTube is much younger, technically, statistically speaking, and a lot of people like to watch people like that look like, at and like see, are like them. So I've been saying for a while now, like Ryan's gonna have to figure something out when he hits 30 something. Like, because he's people like Generic Studs, people coming out of high school, the viewership are going to be people around that age.
Yeah. So, you gotta have a baby face.
It's very surprising, and I'm actually happy that like someone like Jang or Tiago, they're killing it. Because and they grew at the rate they felt at the speed that they went at our age, because they're our age, and it's very reassuring, and like it kind of gives a sense of relief that you don't have to be young to like to make it big, but you have to work just a tad harder to be noticed. Whereas in Instagram, like once you get to know somebody, it's the presentation. Although if you want to make it complex, you can. You don't necessarily have to. And then the fact that like, because we stream with each other all the time, but still when we stream on YouTube, it's technically still like kind of a production. You know what I mean?
It's still content.
It's still content, and it can get pretty intense with the amount of people who jump on a stream. Like it can exceed over 100, 200 people, and when someone like Ryan or Jessica or someone at that level like decides to stream, it can get overwhelming to the point you can't even pay attention to the chat, and then you start getting negative comments, and you start seeing trolls, all that kind of stuff. And I've yet to see any trolling in Instagram at all. Like
how much trolling happens like on Instagram? Because like I've gotten some weird. What?
Not much.
Yeah, I've gotten like just like 1-2 weird things, but it's not like YouTube.
And you can just kick them right out.
Yeah.
When they do it. Like I think the higher followers you have, the more trolls you get. But even with some of the higher number, like TK Brikx, for example, he has like 150,000 followers or what have you. And when he used to stream a lot, like once a week, or twice a week, you would see them. Like you would see them in the chat, right? But then he would just you wouldn't even notice them. And then after, like, I think once you set that precedent on Instagram too, like that you won't put up with the shit, right?
Yeah, it stays. It kind of stays with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so knock on wood, I don't think I've ever had a troll like in one of my lives before.
Yeah.
I think it's just like and I could see you being very similar, Claire. Like we just have this presence of like, no. Like we're not going to put up with
it. I think that also speaks to our age group, because we're grown adults and we don't mess with BS. Like
we just don't really you don't get shaken. I mean, like I used to get shaken. I used to get shaken a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't get phased by stuff. And also like you learn that like getting phased is like giving something back, and it's like you take pride and ownership over even like your time, your thought, your glance, like everything is precious. And so like I think that takes age to like
definitely get you out of character.
Yeah, like Ninja and I can attest, if you would have stepped in our shoes when we're 21, you might get socked in the face. But like when you're like 30 something and you get someone steps on your shoes, you'll be like, can you apologize? No? Okay, get away from me. I don't want to deal with you. You're not wasting. I'm not wasting effort to like get you away from me. Just I'm gonna walk.
You don't even exist in my world,
you don't
bro.
exist. Get away. So the same concept. Like but that takes maturity. That's the thing. And I feel like the Instagram like group that has. I feel like making it a group is like being.
There's
like,
so many people.
There's a lot, but like it's a welcoming. It's a positive group. It's a positive group. I'm trying to make it open to everybody. But like the Instagrammers who have created little communities amongst each other and amongst themselves and overall scheme of things, like I don't see like BS as much as there are on YouTube, and the drama is at a very minimal thing.
It's so much also like it's so much nicer to consume. I will say that.
Yes.
Like it's like a few minutes before bed. It's you know what I mean? It's like some nice quotes. It's like cool artwork, and it's like, you know, my new favorite, I really like minimal bricks or minimalist bricks or whatever. Because it's like, it's just so crazy how like revolutionary it is to be like, you don't have to buy everything. And it's like, it's like revolutionary. Yeah, the sky is blue. But you know what I mean? Like, and like Ninja's been saying it. I've been saying it, like a lot of us have been saying that forever and stuff. And it's like, but like, you know, packaging it the way that they do is like really great. And just like really thoughtful.
He's wonderful.
Yeah, which is really cool.
We're very good friends, and we do a live now on Friday nights together, and like, so it's like a thing right now where like people are they call us disgustingly positive, like the two.
Oh my god!
So like we made bricks, me and him. That's like disgustingly positive.
That's what you guys should call like the live stream or something.
That's what we called it last week. We were like. Fridays are for being disgustingly positive.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something to say for like having, you know, just some like conscious thought in a hobby that can be really stressful sometimes. You know, like like when my entire
definitely stressful.
Well, yeah, it's like creating social media content in its own is like this whole category of stress, right? And then there's the hobby in itself, which is like costly, and then it was swallowing me whole in my apartment, you know, and like that's one of the reasons like I really stopped making content is like I couldn't think clearly until like I cleaned up all our stuff, and like only now I feel like I'm like coming out of that, and I feel like I feel like I burn out just the same way I did from my old job. And it's like
grind, it's the grind.
Yeah, it's just it's not burnout from the grind. It's like burnout from like the mental real estate that I've like given to like, where am I going to put this? So like, I need to buy this from the Container Store. I need to like allocate these funds for like this. I need to, you know what I mean? And like, just so that I can like open a drawer and I have like my mental relief when I see it. And then, you know, rather than dealing with like my affliction to like be organized, I decided to just organize the Lego. So, you know, it's one way or the other. So we'll see about that. But over the long term, if that can sustain.
You've been battling that for how long?
I feel like we're done. Like today, we were cleaning the last bin of bulk Lego.
Oh wow!
The last bin.
I have like 7 bins in the garage. I'm not even touched.
The last bin. I'm gonna. So Sans is putting together his bull clone army, and I want to show you what the distribution of fake Lego that was like pulled out. I have to show you.
Okay, well, while she's doing that and I fulfill this gap of talking, I will say watching Instagram, even Reels at the most part, but this watching Instagram content feels a lot cleaner when I go to sleep. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, because we all do the same thing. We check our phones, and that's the first thing we go on Instagram. But like when I watch TikTok, I feel dirty as hell. No matter what when I consume information. But like Instagram, though, is that fake Lego?
It's all fake Lego, but do you see the color distribution?
Yes.
What is this? It's all bull clone army. It's all bull clone colors. What is this? Purple, black,
and put in a vase or
isn't that weird?
Or a mason jar and close it.
Oh no! I mean, we're gonna donate it to like Goodwill and stuff. Like
it's all fake.
It's all fake. All of it.
Yeah. Fake Lego has now made into my house due to presents to my kids.
Today, Sans and I learned where it says Lego on Technic pins and on flower pieces and on rods and little tiny things like to be able to
teeny tiny stuff. Yeah,
it's so teeny. Yeah, we're like, oh, do we need to get a magnifying glass? I was like, no, we're not that old yet. I was like,
I feel like I'm getting there. I can't see shit. It's pretty bad. All right.
So one more thing I thought of, and like why people might feel more comfortable sometimes in the Instagram community right now is because it's like quick, if that makes sense. Like what you were just saying, right? It's clean. It's like, it's quick. It's a quick picture. There's no additional effort that needs to really be made to create a video, or even reels right now are really pretty 15 seconds, pretty simple stuff. And the great ones are the ones that really take the time to do it. And you know, like Minimal Bricks, right? Like he takes the time to like make these reels and this content, right? But for Instagram, you don't necessarily see content creators. They're more just creators, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're like, there's
and then they're posting pictures, and it's like, it's so.
There's a few. I feel like there's a few.
I guess. I don't know.
You can like count on one hand. I think
there's a few. Yeah,
like that are like they're like, Instagram is my thing. I'm going to like create an entire aesthetic behind it, and then it certainly feels, and then it feels like everyone else is like just creating, and then it feels like the ones that are creating that want to grow are like just like shooting at whatever and seeing what sticks. You know what I mean? And like trying to get growth with that, which. There's danger to that.
Yeah.
And I think people are learning. I think people are learning from that now. It usually takes like a few months of doing something and being like, okay, I got like it's like the short scenario of YouTube circa, 2021 that people got like inflated growth from that.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I was going to bring that up. Thank you.
Yeah, is that happen? I don't know.
There's a couple people that they're friends within the community, so I'm not gonna name them out. But like they've grown significantly through Reels. They still post photos too, so you can't really narrow that down. But when you look at when they post, like they'll get like a ton of likes and a ton of views on the Reels. But when they post a photo, the engagement on the photo, although the photo I personally would say would be 10 times better in what I'm looking at, gets no engage or minimal engagement, minimal likes. So it feels like the whole shorts thing on YouTube.
It's it's changing. That's for sure. In terms of what people are, their eye is catching and their engagement is going towards. I would agree being that way.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you look at there's a reel tab and you just get on the reel tab and you can just keep swiping on the people that you follow and new people there. So it's very easy to like. Whereas when you're actually scrolling the normal feed of people you actually follow, it takes time to like digest what you're scrolling through. And some of them are reels, some of them are photos. And then sometimes you want to dive into like reading what the caption is or the description is, and then sometimes you want to like dive into like the multiple photos are on a thing, which I think is very healthy for that. And I think that's why I like that with Instagram is like you can choose to be a TikTok garbage thing, and if you just want to keep swiping on videos, or you could kind of take your time with the digestion and like really, really analyze what you're looking at, or just be numb at the same time.
Right. So,
but I am seeing that though. Like I'm seeing like the growth from, if you're growing through Reels, it feels like if you're going through shorts on YouTube, whereas you won't get any engagement with your longer content versus your Instagram. You're not getting engagement with your photos, or at least as much. Like it doesn't equate. They're not equal. So it is very telling, and I can see why YouTube is doing the same thing. But before we beat a dead horse with that, I do want to get into one more piece of topic before we all disperse because it's late. So, let's end it on a positive note. So like YouTube, at least the community on YouTube, like we are now able to like, hey, we can talk to each other, and like we're starting to like congregate, and like you're starting to see that through our own content via Instagram or actual YouTube. But it's also like I found it really like heartwarming to see the same type of love and like camaraderie with you guys doing it, especially what I saw. What was it, Brikx Cascade, when you guys were doing that? Like when you guys were on that house. Like when I saw that photo of you guys in the stairwell, like on Old School Family, I'm like, oh my god, you couldn't pick a more like our generation type of photo. Like on
we did that on purpose.
Properly. Yeah, I'm like, oh, like you're aging the crap out of the retired. What are you doing?
We chose the house just for the staircase.
Really? Oh my god.
We're like, yes, this one. But it was awesome.
But like that moment, like you guys, I mean, you guys are, I think, one of the first ones to start to accumulate, congregate into an area like in mass. So like the last Cascade, you guys all did that, and it became this big thing, just like how Chicago is now for us. But now Instagram's coming too, so it's gonna be a massive thing. But like, how do you it's good to see that positivity. Like, how do you like see that going forward through that? Do you think it's going to continue to stay tight knit? Do you think people are going to kind of disperse now that things are kind of going back to normal, or do you think that's it just you're hoping that it sticks forever?
I think that I think because I started to go to cons even before everything started going like opening up, and like certain pockets would too. So just meeting people in real life is like definitely my jam. Like I like to be around people. I like to feel their energy. I like that interaction. I mean, I don't mind this either, right? I don't mind this, but there's something about meeting someone in real life, right? Like being around them and their energy and like giving off of it too. I'm a feeler per se, right? Like I'm definitely inspired by people when I'm with them more than when I'm visual like this. So I think a lot of people are realizing that they're similar. So like at Cascade, Thomas, for example, like that was his first convention, like big convention. And he was saying like, this is incredible, right? Cause he's a feeler too. So he was like, oh my gosh. And he's going to Chicago now. Right. So it's like this, I don't know, not tornado. That's not the right word, but like, it's a feeding off of each other. Like I always have this huge wave of creativity right after a convention. Like always, every time, like every time I drive home, I'm like, oh my God, okay, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to, and it happens every single time. And I think people are starting to realize the power in that too. And like learning from each other and being inspired by each other to keep creating content and trying new things and learning new techniques. And because when you see it in real life versus on a picture, it's much, much different. Mm-hmm. And just, it's spongy, right? We're spongy. We're humans. We want that. So I don't think that that's going to necessarily slow down personally. I think, there's more people going to Chicago than there were Cascade, right? So it's even building and building and building. And I think, some will be bigger than others, of course. It's just the way it is, but I don't think that's going to slow down. I think once some people, this is going to be this is their first one. So once they get the taste, right? Like they get that taste, they're going to be like, oh my God, I gotta go. I'm done. I'm in. Or you're going to have this select few where it's going to be too much. It's going to they're super introverted and like, they're going to try this and then they get so overwhelmed that they shut down and then they're done, right? Like they're like, nope, this wasn't for me. I can't. And you are going to have that pocket of people for sure. But I think for the most part, people want to be around people, even when they are a little introverted.
I mean, that's human, right?
Yeah.
Like we do well as a tribe.
Yeah, I think those Lego conventions though are like perfect for that type of person. Like,
yes, agreed.
Sans and I were just like, we were driving and pulling into the driveway, and I don't know what he said, but I was like, if I ever see you be that extroverted or that gregarious, I'll like roll over in my grave or something. I don't know, whatever. I was like misusing an expression or whatever. And I was like, oh, I take it back. You're like a different person at Lego conventions, because it's summer camp. You know what I mean? It's like, it brings out, it's like two different personalities that you can be. There's Brick Fair you and there's regular you. I've only been to one convention and it was, and I think we talked about it last time you were on, I was there and it was great. It was like totally the best. And I think I enjoyed it the most because like he was having the best time, but I definitely felt a little bit out of place, like in terms of like on the grander scheme of things. Like I enjoyed like the smaller pockets of people that I met. And it's, I think, and I never would have guessed that was me, because I'm like a more stereotypical extroverted person, but it was because it's not a typical social environment. It's almost better, I think, for the atypical introvert. What are you doing? Sorry, I've got
special.
It's all good.
I would agree with you. I'm more of the pocket
Yeah, like I like the when you go off to dinner, or like when you hang out, or like when you're in each other's like, hotel rooms, like just like talking about nothing.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most, more than anything. I think that the convention is cool, interacting with people who, not only your friends, but interacting with people who like watch your content. I think that's dope as well. But like, I am more excited for like Brick World Chicago Tuesday through Thursday than I am for Friday through Sunday.
I would totally agree. Like the first 2 days are like the best.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
The best.
Because like just like we've been, the theme of the whole thing is like the community that you've built, the friendships you've made, like, you go beyond the brick, you build real relationships because you know what you're going through. Like you're going through some shit, or you're the happiest person right now because this happened to you. So like you get to feel what's really behind the content creator, or the whatever you want to label ourselves on any platform. So then you get to invest your time into like following their life on a platform, and then when you finally meet, you actually get to like share that emotion physically, as opposed to like through a screen of some kind.
Totally.
So,
and a lot of people where like Chicago is going to be their first one, like they were asking me and some others that have been to a few, and they were like, what is it like? Is it really like, is it weird seeing like people in real life that like you just have this like incredible relationship with online? And I'm like, honestly, I have not come across one person yet like that I can think of right now off the top of my head that was different than when like right now. Like I could not tell you. I mean, maybe one, right? Like there's probably, there's always one, but like overall, people are exactly who they are.
I agree. I think people are exactly that. The only person that I think that one's different. I think people have told him that he's like so much nicer in person or whatever. But I think like if you have an incredible connection with somebody, it's going to be the same.
Hi, Sense. So creepy. Those are so creepy. Why did it have to be in the shadow?
Always.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get the offshoot person, right? But even so, like, they're not going to be like so egregiously like different that you're going to be.
It's usually better. They're usually better,
right?
They're usually better in person because like they'll hug you, or like actually hang out, and it's so much better. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Chicago.
You should be.
Oh, I wish you were
actually
coming.
This awkward in real life.
Well, I'm a hugger, Claire, and so when I see you at Bricks by the Bay in 2 weeks, like that will be the first thing that will happen. Like there won't be words; it will just be me.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Wait,
don't forget to give her a brick.
No, I know, I will. So what I need to know though is like what I haven't bought I was about to like buy them. I haven't bought my Bricks by the Bay tickets.
Oh god.
No. They have like they have tons. It's like not a big deal. But it's like, how long? Like, do people do like a whole weekend out of it, or like, do you know what the deal is?
This is my first one because it was always virtual whenever So this is my first in-person one. I'm bringing my son because he's entering the kids portion of it. He's so excited. He's so excited. It's like the best moment
with his mosaic, right?
Oh my gosh. And it's like something that we can do together too. It's really cool. So
is he showing the mosaic that he's been working on? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's so pretty good.
He's so proud of it. Yeah. I was like, and he keeps telling me, he's like, Mom, my first mosaic is bigger than your first mosaic. I'm like, that's true. You are not lying.
I remember I would say things like that to my mom, and she's like, you should be like, I did this so you would be better. I'd be like, okay, Mom. I'd be so competitive with her. It was so weird.
He has done everything. Like he even glued it. Like the only thing that we helped him with was Patrick cut the board for him to mount it, and then he did the glue. He put all the the weights on top. Like he chose all the pieces. Like he designed it too. Like through my Let's Build digitally. Like he did all of it. Like he did the whole thing. I'm like
proud. You're proud, aren't you?
Totally, I'm proud. Absolutely.
And it's like, it came naturally, I assume, right? You weren't like, you should do this. It was like,
and it's the Wings of Fire books. They're like young reader books right now. There's like 15 of them, and it's one of the dragons. Like it's one of the book covers, and so he wants to be like a author, scientist, artist, like one of those three. And 2AT Sutherland is the author, and so he would probably kill me if I told you guys this. But he wrote 2 nights ago, he went up in his room and like disappeared, and we're like, okay, like you must be reading, right? He likes to read. And he comes back down at like almost 10 p.m. I was like, what are you doing? And he hands me this piece of paper, and he like ripped it to make it look like old, right? And he like wrote her a letter, like wrote the author a letter. And
that's
he's
awesome.
Like, I want to put this next to the mosaic at the convention. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Do that. Does the author have a social media presence at all?
Yeah, I follow her the other day.
That's a tag.
I'm gonna tag her.
Definitely tag.
Sure. Yeah.
That would be great. Oh man.
That's awesome. I have to head out.
Yeah, but no, we're gonna kill it right now. We're gonna kill it right now. I have to go pick up my wife because she's done with her concert. She's at just the address. She's at a Backstreet Boy concert. Like, so she's like sending me videos singing, and I'm like, oh,
I want to
go. They've been in LA for like a few nights, right?
Yeah. So she's had these tickets. She's a huge BSB fan. I don't care. NSYNC. I'm all about JT.
NSYNC, yeah.
Yeah, I'm NSYNC. She's Backstreet Boys.
I was Backstreet Boys. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they have good ballads. I'll give them that. But they can't dance for crap. But like, I need to go pick her up. So let's wind down. Is there anything else that anyone has to say? Thank you, Kate. We're gonna bring you back because we need to continue the conversation.
Call me whenever. It's totally fine. I'll jump on whenever with you guys. Always a good time.
We appreciate it. This is a great time.
So fun. It's so fun, like watching you be like this like massive leader in the Instagram community. It's like so cool.
That was what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, but it's like it's so great, and like, and it, like I feel it's like it's we like have a touch point there, which is like amazing, and yeah, it's great. Communities.
Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Thanks, Claire, for that future segue. Because there will be a part 2 to this. Well, technically it's a part 3, but a part 2 to this conversation. So with if no one else has anything, Kate, thank you.
Oh, thank you. This was awesome, as always.
Thank you. And rest of everybody who's listening, good night. And we'll see you on the next one. Roll that music, peace.
Sorry,
you're starting. I know, you're tight. Ninja bounce, dude. Peace. Hey,
I'm so sorry. I will see you guys later.